Hey everybody, it's Brooke. I hope you're having a great day. Are you ready to finally bind our signatures into our spring garden journal? Well, come on then, let's do it. I have my journal cover all ready to go. I have all of our signatures ready to go, and we are going to start making our floating spine. So let's just do that. I'm going to take one last measurement of my book, because you know how I am. I forget things. I'm going to call it, I was calling it 10, but I'm actually going to say 9 7/8. And the width of our spine, I believe, is 2. So I'm measuring in between the space where it will fold, where we left this little fold mark with our spine. And that is going to be 2 inches. So that's what we need to make our spine, the size we need to make our spine. I grabbed a scrap of cardstock. This is just like Michael's weight cardstock, 60 pound they call it, but I don't think it's really 60 pound. And a scrap piece of computer paper. Get my trimmer here. Get it the right way. Oh, something is so wrong with my trimmer. The little blade keeps falling out. I don't know what the problem is, and then it sticks. I probably broke it. Meh. Okay, so we'll make this guy 2 inches wide. And 9 7/8 high. That's just about it. There we go. So that's what we will sew our signatures onto. And now we need to make another piece exactly that same size so we can use it as our template for punching holes. So once again, we'll do 2 inches wide and 9 7/8 high. You want those to be the same size. Great. We can put our cutter away. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to use a 5-hole pamphlet stitch because I've got all different size pages in each signature, and so a 5-hole pamphlet stitch will give me more places to capture those smaller pieces. So I'm going to fold the spine piece in half. I guess I should probably burnish that down a little. And this is to get the place where the 5 holes will go. And so I'll fold the bottom piece up to our center fold. And turn it around and do the same thing with the bottom going up to our center fold. And I think I'll go ahead and mark this with my T right now so I don't forget, because I'm thinking about it. So I'll grab my pencil, and arbitrarily, this is going to be the top. Always want to make sure you do that. It's important because it's very easy to get them mixed up. Now I'm going to take the bottom edge again and fold it to the point where we just folded it before. And you can measure this all out to get it, however you want it. The measurements don't really matter. You just want to start about 1 inch from the bottom and 1 inch from the top and have one in the middle. But you can just wing it if you'd like, whatever makes you happy. Measure it to be exact. It doesn't really matter one bit. So now we have the place where our 5 holes will be. I know you probably can't see those too well, but you'll be able to in a minute. So now what we need to do is the tricky part, which is figure out how much space will be between each signature. Now I'm going to do 7 signatures, and we have a 2-inch spine here. So I'm going to use my my handy dandy Tim Holtz ruler. And I've got the 5 on this edge and the 7 on this edge. The 6 is in the middle. Because of that 0 on Tim Holtz rulers, it makes it really easy. It's fabulous. So I'm going to mark the center, and I'm going to mark, this will vary depending on how many signatures you're putting in, obviously. And again, it does not have to be exact. An odd number of signatures is a lot easier to figure out than an even number. Just saying. Okay, so I'm going in 1/8 of an inch from either side. And then in between each of those holes, hopefully you can see those, we need to have 2 because we've already got 3 holes in there. So just sort of eyeballing it. Put one at 3/8 of an inch and one, actually that needs to go over a little bit. Get that centered again, so we'll go just past 3/8 of an inch. And we'll do the same thing on the next 2. And I really am just guesstimating. And it's just fine. They look about even. And so now what we need to do is draw our lines all the way down. Again, this is nice and easy using the Tim Holtz ruler. It's easy to get a good straight line. I'm using the lines on the ruler and lining it up with our 2 ends to make sure that I've got a straight line. And I'll just draw a line straight down that way, and I'll do that for each dot that we just made. I got to tell you, if you're familiar with Photoshop, it's a lot easier to do this in Photoshop or Word than it does the math for you. But this works just fine as well. Okay, I'll just go ahead and make all those lines. Oh gosh, am I in camera? I am. Oh good. Yay. And just for my own ease, when I'm sewing, I'm going to go ahead and mark the intersection of each of these lines so I'll have a dot that'll show me where to aim my needle. I just find that to be a little easier. And there we go. So now I'm going to go to each of our folds. And I can see my fold right there, so I'm going to have a stitch there, a stitch there, a stitch there. And as you can see, it looks like my middle space is a little wider. It's fractional, and it's not going to make a difference. It really won't. You will not be able to see that at all. Okay, and there's our second fold. Almost forgot him. That'll never do. Oh, I'm skipping things all over the place. There's that. And now we've got all of our stitch holes, or needle holes, whatever you want to call them, marked and quite obvious for us. So yeah, there's that part. And again, I have my T marked at the top. Put that aside, get my ruler out of my way, and let's do the same thing here. Well, not exactly the same thing. I'm going to fold it in half this way because I want to, well, a little straighter would be nice. I want that fold to be able to nestle down into the fold in our pages. That was shoddy folding, Brooke. And what I can do with this is just line it up with the top of our spine piece, spit it out. And I'm going to mark where our dots are. Okay, so those will all line up beautifully. And again, I'm just going to mark the T because I put it on the inside. I did that too soon, so I'll just fold it like that and mark this with a T, and that's how we'll punch the holes in our signatures. So let's do one. Usually I would punch all the holes in all of my signatures and then sew each one in. I'm just going to do one on camera, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks, and we'll finish it up together. But I've done this a million times, you guys. I have seen it. I promised this would be start to finish though. So once again, I'm making sure all my pages are oriented the way I wanted. So the top is to the left. Double checking the order that they're in. Doesn't hurt to check. Make sure my photo sleeve is at the top. The opening's up at the top. I want that to go down a little bit. This is Japanese writing. I am not sure if this is right side up or not. If it's not, and I'm offending someone, I apologize. I do not know how to tell. But it's so beautiful that I had to put it in. And there's our Edith Holden page that has our harvest log attached. So that is all in the right order. Yay. And that's how we want to bind it in. So I will make sure that I take my ruler, and I'm going to go ahead and get down in there, into that fold, and make sure all those papers are pressed together. And I'm keeping them folded while I go and put some clips on it. You don't want to lay the papers out flat because that will make the holes not line up correctly. And now I've got my little pokey mat that I used. You can use a bath towel, you can use a foam book, any kind of book really that you don't mind poking holes in. And I've got my template, and I'm going to tuck it right down in there, lining up the top with the top. Okay, and let's see, where's my Tim Holtz pokey tool? I know I got it out. Oh, it's over here. There we go. Now for these pages, the inside holes, I use my pokey tool because my awl, which is what I'll poke the holes, that's not even true. I was lying. I was thinking about when I poke holes through the spine that's not a floating hidden spine, I use my awl because it's so much thicker. So just scratch that. We're not using the awl. I was off somewhere. We'll just use our pokey tool because it makes smaller holes. And I'm going down, making sure I'm going all the way through, holding that template in place with my finger. Checking, taking a little peek in the back, making sure we're going down straight through the fold. Yep, looks great. I got through all the way. Perfect. So we'll set this aside. We still need it. Well, heck, we had a little technical difficulty. So disregard the holes you see in our template. This is our spine piece. Rather, it's on our template. I've taken out the fabric that I used for the spine of the book, and I still have some scraps left. And I think I want to cover just barely long enough. I think we can wing it. I want to glue this onto our spine piece. And I want it to be about, let's see, if our spine is 2 inches wide, we probably want 2 inches on either side to be able to glue into our book. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that looks good. So I'll go ahead and make a little snip there and tear it. Ooh, lots of strings, lots of strings. Get that out of our way. Okay, let's get that nice and flat. I'm gonna get out my gluing paper. Don't want to mess. And what I'm going to do is put glue on, okay, with our template, we want this side to be the back side. I want the fabric to be on the side that's going to show in the book. So I'm turning it over and looking for my Fabri-Tac, which is right in front of me. And we'll just get a good bit on there. I want to make sure our fabric's going to stick. It's going to get stitched also, but little extra assurance never hurt. This is the mechanical part of your book, so to speak. So you want to make sure that you're using lots and lots of adhesive of every sort to make the integrity stand up to the abuse of a journal. There's my little spatula. This is my Fabri-Tac palette knife. Get that spread out. This will be mostly covered, so if it gets, you know, a little bit of a glue on it, it's okay. If it seeps, rather. But we'll try to get that spread out so that everybody gets some glue. Now, Turn that upside down. Center this as best I can, top and bottom and side to side. Get that smoothed down. I just love this fabric so much. Okay, that looks good. And now I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac again. Now actually, before I put the Fabri-Tac down, I think I'll trim a little bit. Will I? Yeah. So I'm just going to trim the fabric, miter that edge a little bit, cutting right up to the corner of our spine. That way it'll be easier to cover it. Once it's glued down, we won't have that little stray bit hanging out. Okay, so there's that piece. Get my Fabri-Tac and my glue page. Gosh, I hope this whole technical thing didn't wreck the whole video. I've already done it though, so I can't undo it. I just gotta patch it together the best I can. That's all we got. Okay, smoosh that out. Fold our fabric over. Come on, Tim Holtz fabric. There we go. Oh, it's got some text there. I like that. I like it. Okay, and we'll flip it over and do the same on the other side. So we're just covering the end of our spine is all we're doing, so that the paper doesn't show, or the cardstock. Nip that in, and then nip up towards there. So we've got a funny little, I don't know, parallelogram cut out. Is that what that is? Okay, and I'm going to take this piece and glue it up over it as well. Okay. I did buy a new bottle of Fabri-Tac. I'm just not ready to open it. You know, it's like Christmas when you get new Fabri-Tac, and I'm savoring the anticipation. Easy for me to say. Oopsie. Everything is stuck to everything. Get that out of our way. Fold our fabric over. There. Now, I've decided, I believe, no, I know. I think at this point I can safely say I know. I'm going to go ahead and put a headband on this. This is that little piece that pops up at the top of the spine of a book. And I think this gray is going to look fabulous. So let's just do it. Now's the time. So we'll take that much. Much again, because they're two ends. Now, I got these from Johni at the Junk Journal shop. I'm sure they are also available on Amazon, because what isn't? And they're kind of a jazzy little edition, I think. I don't use them all the time, but I do like them. So that's going to be some more Fabri-Tac. Fabric to fabric. We don't have to worry about that seeping through. I'm just going to turn that to make sure I get it right where the band is sticking up. Just where I want it. Nice and straight. Hey, for me, that's pretty straight. Look at that. Look at me go. Okay. And then I'll go down to this end. Put our Fabri-Tac there. Guess I better leave that on its side in case we have to glue. Oh, we do have to glue again, so go ahead and do the same with this piece. Get it so just the little band part is sticking up, peeking up over the top, and get it straight. Press that down. Okay, now we should probably, I would probably, were I working on this by myself, I would give this a few minutes for the glue to set, but let's just keep going. What the heck? And now we're going to punch the holes in our spine piece. So this is where I would use my awl, or you can use your pokey tool, your Tim Holtz, doesn't matter, whatever you want. That may not be sharp enough. I think I need to see if Mark can sharpen that for me. And I am just going through where we marked those holes and making sure to get a hole in the fabric. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'll fast forward through this. I'm just going to go through and punch a hole in every spot we made. Okay guys, I did everyone a favor and went ahead and threaded my needle off camera. I use, for binding, I use this Line Co. wax cording. It's the best that I have found. It's not as thick as some, and the wax isn't as heavy, but it's really strong. This particular batch is weird. It feels like it's old, maybe, and a little dry. The wax has dried up. So what I've been doing with this one is I just run it through my beeswax, which is this. You just cut off a length that's 3 times the length of your book, cut the thread, run it through the wax, and you can get this at Joann's, at Hobby Lobby, in the sewing department, and again, I'm sure online. And then you take your thread after you've waxed it and just pull it a few times, and that will help activate that wax and get it nice and warm and moving nicely. It helps the thread go through the papers and also helps you tie a stronger knot that will stick because it'll be slightly sticky. And here's the signature that we have poked the holes in, which I hope we didn't lose. I really hope I didn't lose that part. Yikes. And here's our beautiful spine piece. So this is the piece that'll be facing up, right? All of our holes are on the back. I start with the last signature in the book, so when it's turned over, it's actually going to be the first row of holes that we poked. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm going to do for the 5-hole pamphlet stitch is I'm going to go through that first hole, pull that through, leave enough of a tail that I can hold on to it so it doesn't escape. Then we'll take our book, or our signature rather, get to the middle, holding it like a taco still. And I flip books around like crazy when I'm stitching them in. I'm sorry if it's highly annoying. Oh, and there's my mouse. You don't need to see that. That's boring. And we'll just, that's caught. There we go. Just pull that through. Get it pulled through on the back. Make sure we're not losing our tail. And now we're going to go up to the next hole. The 5-hole is a little more fussy. Not bad though. Okay, and so we need to get it to go into the hole that is next on our spine piece, she says. Oh, come now. Just kind of peeking through. There we go. There we go. We've got that photo sleeve in there, and it makes it a little harder to pull the needle through. That is okay. Now we're going to go up to this next hole. And I started on the back because I want my knots in the back. I don't want the knots in the middle of the book. And I'm going into our next hole. Once again, easier said than done. So I'm just putting it through and then finding the hole in the signature. There we go. Now I'm going to get my pliers out. My hands don't feel very strong today. Where are my pliers? Oh, they're already out. Ha! I was thinking ahead. Here, just a pair of flat-nosed jewelry pliers work great. And pull that through. Get that nice and snug. Now I'm going to go back to our second hole down. Now they're sort of attached. It gets a little easier trying to find that hole. You don't want to split your thread because then it gets really hard to get anything tight. It just turns into a big old mess. So pull that. Lay that down. Now we're going to skip our center hole and go down to this hole, second to the bottom. And I just find that the 5-hole pamphlet stitch makes things a little more sturdy. Okay, there's that. Making sure to keep things tight as we go. And now we need to go through our bottom hole, flippity floppity, which is right here, and through our signature, our spine piece rather. I think I'm pulling this right up to my face, sorry. And through that bottom hole. Okay, at this point we can take those clips off, which does make it easier. It's not so heavy and lopsided. So let's go ahead and take these off. Find our center again. Pull that snug. And we're going to go back through. This is the bottom hole we just came through. We're going to go through this hole. Again, not splitting our thread. Pulling it snug. And we're going to go up to our middle hole. Okay, this is where we started. So we're going to go through that hole. Definitely not splitting our thread this time. And we want one thread on either side of the stitch. Let's grab those. And you know what? Do as I say, not as I do, because I did split the stitch. Hold on. Oh, no, I didn't. I fixed it. Okay, so I can take this piece and just tuck it under there. I'm going to pull it this way, and I'm going to pull it this way. Make sure those are nice. See, I'm not real thrilled with how tight that is or isn't. So we can go through and just tighten this up. I try to tighten as I go, but sometimes it gets a little loose. It just happens that way. Nature of the beast. There we go. That ought to do it. I'm going to flip it over and check on this side that we're not caught on anything. Nope, it looks great. So I'll go ahead and flip it back over. Do not be afraid of flipping. Flipping is your friend. But do keep checking your orientation of your pages and your cover and your spine. That's my advice. And we'll do kind of a fake square knot over and under, right? And under and over. And there we go. That is good and snug, and it's sticking together as a double knot really well because of that wax. And we will just clip it off, leave a little bit on there, and set that aside. And yay, our last signature is in. So I like to go through and double check it before I go any further, just to make sure that everything's where I want it. It's easier to fix the less that's in the book if you have a problem. So here are our pages. Oh, I love grocery bag. Here's that fun photo page. The opening is at the top. A fun schematic. Our beautiful Japanese paper. Here's our Edith Holden book. Here's our harvest log that flips out like that. Everything so far is looking good. It's all right side up. Bonus. There's that other Japanese page. The other half of it. The rest of that schematic. And here's the book page that we sewed onto our photo sleeve, which is just beautiful. Oh, and it has this fun little pockety thing on the back. We need to make something to go in there. And there's the garbage bag on the other side of the digi page. Awesome. So this one went in beautifully. We've got our first signature in. It looks like it's even with space at the top and space at the bottom. So I'm going to do that same thing another 6 times, and I'll come back and show you how to put the rest together. Hold on. Well, I'm back, and all of the signatures are sewn in beautifully. You'll notice a costume change because I actually didn't finish it till this morning. It's the next day now. Yep. So the next thing we want to do is I like to glue a piece of fabric down over my stitches just to make sure those stitches are good and stuck. So that is totally optional, up to you, whatever you want to do. You just stand your book or lay your book flat. Loving how this is turning out. And grab the Fabri-Tac. Ooh, I meant to get out my new bottle. This might get dicey. Actually, you know what? I think it might work better if it were standing on its edge. There we go. And I'm going to be generous. There's no place that this is going to seep. Probably should have put it on the fabric because the fabric scrap is a tad shorter than my spine. But it will be okay. We'll put some on the fabric too. How about that? It was just a little scrap that I had laying on my desk, actually. Doesn't matter. You can use cheesecloth. You can use whatever you want. You can skip the whole process. Whatever works for you. Yeah, definitely should have put glue on the fabric. Whoa, now we've got volcanoes and strings. What will become of us? I put way too much glue on there because it's what I do. Oh, and you can't see that high. Sorry. It's kind of creeping away from me. Whoa, don't do that. Stay up, stay up, stay up. Doesn't want to stay up. Okay, that ought to be just fine. Grab all the stitches. No, I did not put more glue on the fabric. Massage that in, make sure we're getting it, getting lots of good contact. I'm going to take my little glue spreader palette knife, get some down over there, put our fabric back. And again, this is just for locking those stitches in, not necessary. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. Up to you. If you do the cheesecloth, you can bring it out, towards the ends and make it stringy and cool looking. I love how that looks. Okay, so that's all there. And now, again, we're going to have to just wait for a little bit for this to dry. Do we have to? Do we really have to? Oh, let's go ahead. Let's just keep going, shall we? The next thing we're going to do is put the lid on our Fabri-Tac. Where did I put it? Did you guys see where I put it? It's already thinking about being naughty. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll keep that on its side. And here's our cover. Oh, just loving that. I've got a piece of dark, pretty lightweight scrapbook paper. Beautiful, both sides. It's great, but it's not anything I would use probably. I just like it because it's dark. So let me move my glue mat here and measure once again, because you guys know me. I am measurement challenged, and now I'm ruler challenged. Hold on, I gotta go find my ruler. It hadn't gone very far. Here it is. So I'm going to double check one more time the length of our spine. Maybe if I put the ruler right side up, that would help. And yep, I'm gonna go with 9 7/8. That works for me. So I want a piece of paper that is 9 7/8 wide. Tall, not wide, tall. So we'll get that cut. And our spine is 2 inches, so I want the width of this piece of paper to be 6 inches. And I actually would like it to be more on the dark side, so I'm going to do it this way. So that's 2 inches for the spine and 2 inches on either side. Cool. Get my glue pad back out so we don't make too much of a mess. And now we're going to glue on our spine again. Really does not care to stand up. And again, let's be generous with the glue. That's going to take 2 hands now. going right along our cardstock. And putting in lots and lots of glue. We're at the home stretch. Don't want to start cheaping out on the glue now. Concentrating really hard on squeezing the guts out of this bottle. Okay, yep, that's a lot of glue. Yes, indeedy. Okay, now I want the dark side of the paper to be facing up. So I'm going to turn it over and fold up our little flaps of fabric. Try to get everything straight here. I'm all not straight today. And center my signatures on my book block right in the center, top and bottom, side to side, best as you can. Okay, give that a nice rub. Make sure we're getting that good and stuck. Okay, give it a pinch, and now we're going to fold right along the edge of our spine piece, that cardstock that we sewed into, right here. Now, people have asked where I learned how to do this. I have watched about 1 million videos and just took a little bit from each person that I watched, the parts that made sense. Okay, and there's the edge of the cardstock right there. Get that folded. And I recommend you guys watch videos too, because everyone does it a little differently, and you'll find what works best for you. Okay, so that's looking good. Looking good, looking good. Looks good and stuck. So it occurred to me, if you want to have your tie attach to the inside of your book, your closure, I'm going to leave a little bit more than I think I need, because I like to have plenty of stuff, room to tie. So I'm just cutting off some of this sorry silk. Open up your book. Now is the time to put this in. So I'm going to take this. Ooh, this is all crooked. That's making me crazy. Take this and find the center. Right about there. Center of the book is right about there. That works for me. I can see a spot there where I'm starting. Use our new Fabrifix. Oh, look how nicely that's coming out. Okay, it was worth opening the new bottle. I always forget the difference between an old bottle and a new bottle. That's very nice. It was like Christmas, I was right. So I've just put a line of Fabri-Tac across the journal at the center point. Got the center point of our tie. Let me grab my little holder downer, and we'll just put this down in that glue. I don't always do this because I do get a little concerned. Oh, that's not working very well. I get a little concerned about the sorry silk ripping the end papers, but if we're going to use a good solid end paper, we should be fine. And I do like how this looks, so I thought I would change it up a little. You don't have to do this. You can certainly do it any way, you know, any kind of closure you like. But if you want to do this, now is the time. Come on, you stick down. Okay, that'll stick down once we get the end papers and everything in place. So there is our closure. Okie dokie. It would help if we went ahead and glued our fabric onto our cardstock. Wouldn't it? It's not even cardstock. It's just thin scrapbook paper. That was silly. Do it this way so we don't get any seepage onto our pages. So I'm just pressing that down. That was so silly. Thinking ahead, you know, one step ahead of myself. not good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clamp these because I don't want those pages ending up in the glue. And I'm going to glue this and I'll come right back. You guys know how to glue. I'm just gluing this fabric down onto the paper. I'll be right back. Okay, now I've got that fabric all glued onto our little piece of scrapbook paper there. So sorry. Always watch the video all the way through before you start doing anything with me. Okay, once again, checking to make sure. Got some sticky paper. Everything's sticky. Make sure that you've got your book oriented the way you want it in your cover. And let's try this again, shall we? So I'm going to just snug him right in there. I'm going to hit the camera with my noggin. I was hoping to not do that, sorry. Center it top and bottom. Yeah, standing up definitely helps. Okay, and now I'm going to take my Fix, hard to open one-handed, and I am going to put lots and lots of Fix. Whoops, I didn't want to move that. Lots of whoopses today. That seems even. Just double checking. Boy, I moved it a lot. Okay, let's try again. Get that Fix. Now, I'm only gluing on the sides of our paper, gluing down in our little fold line where the book folds, and getting lots of glue right here. I can come back and add more, but what I want to do right now is fold that down without moving my book block. And you do have a minute to wiggle it if you need to, which I did. Oh, and I just hit the camera again. I'm sorry about that. And press that down and smooth that down. Whoops. Very whoopsie day. Just give that a second to catch. And you know, we didn't put glue underneath where the pages are. We only put it to the side. And that way our pages are free to move a little bit so we can open our journal nice and flat. Okay, I think I can sit down now so I can stop hitting the camera with my noggin. And all of this is going to be covered up with our end paper, so no worries. Need a little bit more right here. Okay, now we'll go to this side, and we will snug those pages down. Let me see. Oh, my computer wants to do a scan right now. That's awkward. Huh, no, really, I don't want to do it right now, thanks. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, good. Computer is all better now. Okay, and now we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to put our glue right in our little fold there. And then, oh, don't put it on your book pages. That's not best. Plenty of glue on our paper. I'm trying to put this in a place where you guys can see. Paying attention to that bottom edge. Just on this side of the fold, though, not inside where it will glue the book block down. Does it make sense? I think it does. I don't feel sensible today. Put that down. Smooth it down. Get the excess glue off my fingers. Okay. And now the next step is going to be putting our end papers in, but you do need to let this dry before you go any further because it'd be easy for that book block to shift and be somewhere you didn't want it to be. So I'm going to walk away for a few minutes and I will come back, well, probably like an hour, and I'll come back and we'll put in our end papers, and we will have one gorgeous garden journal. Make sure to stick around. Okay, you guys, I'm back. It's been a little over an hour, and this feels good and dry. I think I would say normally I would leave it to sit overnight, but we got to get the show on the road, so I'm gonna go crazy here. So it's time for our end papers. I'm gonna leave that clip on here. Just got one of those big clamps just to keep my pages out of the way. And while this was drying, I went and cracked in to the precious Tim Holtz 12x12. Yes, I did. Normally, I think I would have used some of his backdrops, but they're not going to be wide enough. So there you go. I broke into them. I think those are going to look really good. I'm going to use a different half on each side, if you see what I'm saying. Like I want this part to be up against the book in the front, and I think I want the receipt to be up against the book in the back. I think I like how that looks. So let's cut. Let's measure and cut. Start in the back and just double checking. Yep, about 6 5/8. I'm measuring from our crease mark where the book will bend, because we don't want our end paper to go over that part, right? Because then it'll mess up our paper. So I'm measuring right from our crease to the edge of the book, and I'm going to go 6 5/8, I think is what I'm going to do. And in theory, the front should be the same, but I'm going to double check, because if you get your book centered a little off, if you weren't exact, you might have a slightly different size. So we'll just do this back one and go from there. So what did I say? 6 5/8, 6 1/2, and one more tick. Still have some left, yay. Save that, it's precious. And I want the birdie. I really like the miscellaneous sales, but we lost a lot of that already, so let's cut that part off. And I think we're going 9 7/8. So cut that. Oop, you can't see. Sorry about that. It's a tall cutter. And I will put that in there and eyeball it before I get all gluey, just to make sure. Turn the book around this way. That actually looks like it's just a little bit too tall. So I'm going to take maybe 1/8 of an inch off at the top. I want it pretty close, but not touching the edges. Yep, I think I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off. Baby steps when you're trimming. That's 1/4 of an inch. I want just 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Probably would have been easier if I put it right side up, huh? Let's see if that looks better. Bring our book back over. That looks much better. Excellent. Okay, so now we are just going to liberally use our glue again. Oh, unless we want to ink. Maybe I'll ink. Sorry, I know that's boring, but it'll look nice. And I love all the colors in this paper. The whole journal is multicolored, and I like that. Yet grungy, because it is made to go outside and get used. And I am using walnut stain ink on this. Just a little distress ink. And I'm not going crazy, just putting a little bit on there. Now we can glue. And again, I'm going to be quite generous. I guess it would probably be good if I use my wax paper, huh? Okay, our book where we can turn this paper over and get it in there. Again, making sure we're putting it in right side up. Can you sense a theme here? And I'm using the fabric tack because we are going over some fabric. Getting right up to those edges. Now this is good heavy cardstock, so we shouldn't have any bumps of glue showing. The ribbons that we put in shouldn't pose a problem. Just making sure I'm getting up to those edges. Getting plenty in the middle. Put the lid on. All right then. So the bottom is to our left, and I just want to put that right there. I don't want to press real hard yet. Kind of get it where you want it to be. Then you can start smoothing it down. Nice. I'm just going to press that real well. Maybe get my scraper. There we go. And that is covering up all the mechanics of all the stuff we already did, which is fabulous. Now give this a bend. Make sure it doesn't interfere with the fold. It does not. Awesome. So there's one end paper in. Doesn't that look beautiful? I'm real happy with that. And now we'll do the other side. And again, I'm going to go ahead and measure it just in case I didn't center it exactly right. Not the end of the world, but we do want to make sure that we're not covering anything. Okay, so there's where it folds. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, that one is a little shorter. I wondered about that. So we're going to go 6 7/8. That's a little bit shorter, isn't it? Let's do that. And this time I want to get the birds, or the flowers rather. I think those are so beautiful. Let's do it right side up, shall we? So 6 7/8. Get in there. Again, saving that scrap. It's a good sized one. We could make some tags or something for the inside. And what did we end up with top to bottom once we trimmed this one? See, it's already gone out of my brain. 20 seconds, that's gone. Oh, let's put the ruler the right way. It is... Sorry, my ruler, I'm trying to read what it says. I've used it and gotten Fabri-Tac on it, so some of the numbers are missing. So that it still says 9 7/8. We'll cut it that way and see how it looks in the book. Maybe my measuring isn't working today. I guess we'll cut off the miscellaneous sales again. Yeah, too bad. Better to cut it a little too long than a little too short. So there's that. Let's see how that looks in there. That would be upside down. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? And once again, my measuring is off. That's why I check several times. So we need to make that a little narrower, and I'm folding the book closed to see where it's laying. See, I've made it a little too tall, or a little too wide, and just a fraction too tall. So let's take off just a teeny bit off the top. Not even 1/4 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch maybe. See if that works a little better. Yep, that looks good. That's much better. Again, I'm trying to put it in upside down. Rookie move. And then I'm going to try about 1/8 of an inch off the edge. I'm so fussy with my Tim Holtz paper, I'm always afraid I'm going to waste some of it. So, probably should have done this part off camera, because I do it 1/fraction of an inch at a time. That looks like that's going to be just fine. Excellent. And we'll bring back our wax paper. Oh, we inked, didn't we? We better do that on this side too. I'm telling you guys, the memory is shot. Just get a little bit of color on that. Cover up the white edge. And when I put it down for the final time, I'm going to try really hard to get it right side up. So again, we'll go right along those edges. You could use double-sided tape for this if you want. You could put glue stick in the middle. However you feel comfortable getting it to stick is perfect. But I do use a lot of whatever I'm using. Because we don't want it to go anywhere. Get that lid back on. Let's get this in place. I think it'll be easier to do it this way. Hold the book flattish. The clamp is still doing its job, sort of, except for this one page. So let me grab a small one. I'll just clamp that, keep it from flapping in my face. There we go. Make sure seam binding is out of the way. Our top is to the left. Yay, that's the right direction. And again, kind of centering it before I go pressing anything down. All right, then, that looks great. Get my scraper tool again. We got a little bit of glue, but I am going to put book corners on here, so that is okay. That will be our next and final step. Can you imagine? Fold that, make sure we don't have a problem with where the book folds. It does not. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Alright, get out that scraper. Make sure those edges are down real well. Wipe off that glue. A little bit coming out, not much. Do not freak out, just wipe it off. There we go. Awesome. Okay, and now it's time for book corners. So let me grab my pliers. Oh, they're buried. Okay, I've just got some flat nose jewelry pliers. I use these a lot. And I already went through my book corners and found 4 of the same finish. And I really like this color. I think this is a great color. So, why don't we go ahead and take our clips off. Oh, this looks fabulous. Oh, I'm really pleased with that. Close it up. Looking good. I like this color. I'm pleased with my color choice. Kind of blends in a little bit, but I like that. That's fine. Nice and even. And look how flat our pages lie. Look at that. Completely flat. That makes me happy. And you can see the beautiful Tim Holtz fabric in between the signatures, which I think is very pretty. Yeah. Looking good. I'm pleased. Okay, so for our little book corners, all we're going to do is I usually put down just a little bit of Fabri-Tac or E6000 and just put a teeny bit there, right in the corner, just for a little extra assurance. Fit the corner on there. Ooh. And I have inferior hand strength, you know. Pinch those corners down. See, that moved a little bit, so you gotta work it in there. And I'll take my pliers and finish pushing that down. And that covers up that little corner where we had a problem. There we go, that's beautiful. Look at that. Doesn't that finish it off nicely? I'm pleased with that. We'll do the same thing over here. I'm not positive I want to put some on the back. Wish you guys could tell me. And just fit that right on there. Pressing it down. Starting it off with my fingers. And then I'll go, oh, we had a little bit of glue seepage, better get that off. There we go. And just go back in with my pliers and squash it down. Get it nice and tight. Make sure it's where you want it. Let that glue grab. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think that finishes the book off really nicely. It's very plain, not a lot going on, but I like that. There's so much going on inside. And then, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the back. What the heck, might as well, right? This video is already 16 hours long with all of my technical difficulties and jumping in and out. It's been a struggle for this one, you guys. It's been a struggle. Sometimes it happens that way. Just go ahead and squash that. Squashed it right off. There we go. Beautiful. Just that little bit of glue. And get that one squished into place and we'll be done. Squishing, technical bookmaking term. And that one's done too. Love it, love it, love it. Got our beautiful tie. And now all we have to do is fill all those gorgeous pockets that we made on the inside. Got plenty of room for tying the book closed and keeping all your goodies in there. As I said, I do like to leave my tie pretty long because I tend to way overfill my journals. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Got the nice curve there, so all the pages are enclosed in the book, and yet it will still open up and be super duper flat. So that is that, you guys. We'll come back and work on filling some of these pages and our pockets and decorating some of the pages. But overall, we are done with our book. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed it. I will link some of the places that I've watched how to do this down below so you can get like a real tutorial. Because this has gone rough. But you got the idea, I think. And I hope you give it a try. It's a lot of fun. And I really do love how they come out because I like a flat journal. So I hope I will see you again real soon. and have a wonderful night. Make sure to do all these things. Click the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.